This is the News 4 Rundown.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the News 4 Rundown. I'm Sean Yancey. Today is Thursday, March 12th. Here's a look at some of the stories we're following for you tonight. Hate speech directed toward the Muslim community sparked outrage on a local college campus. What a group of college Republicans is now saying about disturbing comments posted on their social media account. Plus, the impact of another government shutdown prompted some TSA employees to call out sick or even quit. And that could affect your spring break plans. We'll discuss the protections you have as the uncertainty around travel continues. And then dozens of pets in a Maryland shelter can stay, all thanks to you. How our viewers help keep a local shelter afloat and what the shelter still needs to keep its doors open for good. We begin tonight, though, with this wild weather we've had. Less than 24 hours after we had record heat in our region, we were treated to some nice fluffy snow. From Fairfax to D.C. to Germantown and Silver Spring, just about everyone received some winter weather today. But if you look outside right now, it's like it almost never even happened. Look at the blue skies out there. The sun came out a few hours ago, melted most of that snow away. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Amelia Draper joins us now. Amelia, you described this perfectly earlier as being like in a snow globe. So we got the shake up earlier. It came down. Now it's all settled. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't have any more snow, Sean, in the 10-day forecast. So good news there. Just incredible, though, to think our high yesterday was 86 degrees. Today we had temperatures in the 30s. We had rain. We had snow. Now we have clear skies, and tomorrow it's going to be all about the wind, Sean. So as we look at the latest right now on Storm Team 4 radar, the snow has moved out. It's been dry across the area for hours with plenty of time to dry. That's good news. I'm not super concerned about slick spots really tomorrow morning, maybe an isolated slick spot on your driveway or sidewalk. But check out this temperature change. Compared to this time yesterday, temperatures are about 30 to 40 degrees colder. In fact, over a 24-hour period, we saw the biggest temperature drop of 51 degrees. That ties the record here in Washington of such an extreme temperature drop. Our temperatures right now all well above freezing in the low to mid 40s. 44 in Washington, 43 in Frederick, 41 degrees in Manassas. Looking at your hour by hour forecast, skies stay clear tonight. Will fall from the 40s into the 30s from about 9 to 10 o'clock. And then tomorrow, it's all about the winds. I'm tracking winds gusting up to 45 miles an hour tomorrow in the D.C. metro area and 55 miles an hour in the Blue Ridge. We're looking at seasonable temperatures this weekend, but a January chill moves in for part of next week. I'll have more on my full forecast, Sean, coming up in a little bit. All right, Amelia, we will see you in just a few. As the weather continues to change, download our free NBC Washington app. You will have access to features including live radar, the 10-day forecast, and our live newscast. We will also send you a notification if there is active weather in your neighborhood. Just search for NBC Washington in your app store. Well, tonight we are learning more about the gunman who opened fire on the campus of Old Dominion University today in Norfolk, Virginia. He's from Sterling, Virginia, and back in 2016, the former National Guardsman was convicted of aiding ISIS. According to police, one person was killed and two others were hurt in today's attack. The gunman was also killed. News 4's Jackie Benson is live from the gunman's Northern Virginia neighborhood tonight. So, Jackie, what have you been able to find out?
Sean, we actually spoke to neighbors here who remember that FBI raid back in 2016 where Mohammed Baylor Jallow was arrested for providing material support to ISIS, which is designated as a terrorist organization by the U.S. and many other countries. Now, we have some courtroom artwork we want to show you from his trial where FBI agents alleged he purchased an AR-15 rifle at a Northern Virginia gun store and range, a weapon they claim he planned to use in a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, specifically an attack on members of the U.S. military. Agents documented his contact with known ISIS members, including a trip to a training camp in Nigeria. That investigation resulted in a conviction for which he served 8 years in federal prison. Records show he was released in 2024, less than 2 years before this morning's tragedy at Old Dominion University. Neighbor Kenneth Brown remembers the 2016 raid, and he told us he always thought something was off with Jallow.
It's just like every time I saw him, I used to tell my wife, I said, something about this guy here is just not, it's not right about him. Something is different, you know. He could never look at you, you know. You'd walk right past him this close, and he would never look at you. It shocked everybody here. It really did. It shocked everybody here that we actually had a terrorist in our own neighborhood amongst us, and no one even knew it all this time. So he could have been plotting anything. He could have been plotting an attack at the mall, one of the playgrounds here, one of the schools here.
Jallow was born in Sierra Leone. He is a naturalized U.S. citizen. Now, according to those court documents from his trial back in 2016, he was a member of the Army National Guard, but quit when he began communicating with members of ISIS. Live in Sterling, Jackie Benson, News 4. Back to you.
Jackie, thank you for the update tonight. We are also following a developing situation in Michigan. Earlier today, a man targeted a Jewish synagogue that also houses a preschool. Temple Israel in West Bloomfield is about 30 minutes outside of Detroit. The Oakland County Sheriff confirmed the suspected shooter drove through the building's front doors. A member of the synagogue security team shot at the driver. The car caught fire after something ignited. The sheriff said the driver was found dead inside the vehicle. No one else was hurt. Investigators are still working to determine a motive and if anyone else was involved in the attack. Well, tonight, Georgetown University is investigating after the Georgetown University College Republicans posted an anti-Muslim message on social media. The post on X, which has since been deleted, said Muslims have no place in American society. News 4's Mauricio Casillas spoke with the president of Georgetown's Muslim Association and has the latest on the controversy.
A social media post from the Georgetown University College Republicans is drawing backlash on campus and beyond. It was posted Sunday night on X, responding to a tweet from the conservative account Libs of TikTok, which was referencing an alleged ISIS-inspired terror plot in New York City. The tweet has been deleted, but Georgetown's school newspaper, The Hoya, posted this screen grab when it broke the story. It reads, quote, "Let's be honest, Muslims have no place in American society. Their religion is incompatible with our Christian nation," end quote.
And the first thing that came to my mind was I was kind of appalled and taken aback. Xenophobia is not a thing that we usually have on campus, and it's something that needs to be taken care of.
Ahmad Aburshid, president of the Georgetown Muslim Association, tells me he wants those responsible to be held accountable by the school's administration. News 4 reached out to Georgetown University asking about the post. They sent us this statement, which reads in part, quote, "Georgetown is proud of the religious diversity of our community and strongly condemns Islamophobia and hatred of any kind. We stand in solidarity with our community. We are reviewing this matter through established university processes, and we take our community's concerns seriously and condemn this language," end quote. The college Republicans have since deleted their account on X. News 4 made multiple attempts to contact the group, but we have yet to hear back. They did post a statement on their Instagram page Wednesday, which read in part, quote, "This post is inconsistent with the values of our organization and was made without the knowledge of the executive board. It was promptly deleted upon its discovery. Since then, appropriate internal disciplinary action has been taken. The executive board has taken appropriate action to ensure posts like these will not be made again. We reaffirm our commitment to Georgetown University's values," end quote. Aburshid tells me he isn't calling for the students responsible to be suspended. He says that's up to school officials, but he does want them to issue a stronger apology.
That America was built on religious pluralism. Islam has been here longer than the Republican Party, and we're here to stay because we're part of the fabric of this country.
I asked Georgetown whether the student group could be punished or if the individual responsible for that post could be suspended. They didn't comment on that directly, but they did say that these student groups must follow certain policies, and if they violate those policies, they could be sanctioned. Reporting in the district, Mauricio Casillas, News 4.
All right, keep it right here. The News 4 Rundown. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what we have coming up.
I'm Adam Tuss at Reagan National Airport. As this partial government shutdown continues, TSA officers now missing yet another paycheck. Coming up after the break, we're going to tell you about some of the tough financial decisions some of them tell us they're now having to make.
And here's a look at your bust out forecast for tomorrow on Friday. The kids are going to need the warm jacket. A chilly start at 34 degrees. 56 for a high. That's typical for this time of year, but gusty winds. The winds really pick up during the mid-morning hours tomorrow and continue to be strong throughout the day. I'm taking a closer look at winds tomorrow and the weekend forecast after the break.
Still ahead in your weekend, seeing a look at the founding of our nation in a witty way on stage at a historic theater. Also, one of DC's most winning sports teams is back in action, and a way to celebrate the Persian New Year on the way on News 4.
We're We're back now with a live look at Capitol Hill tonight. Lawmakers once again failed to reach a deal to fund part of the government that's been shut down now for nearly 4 weeks. Funding for portions of the Department of Homeland Security expired back on February 13th. Democrats refused to join Republicans in passing a new funding measure in the wake of the ICE killings of 2 Americans in Minneapolis. They want reforms within that agency before they pass a new funding bill. Now, they have offered smaller funding bills for individual branches of DHS like TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard. We're leaving out funding for ICE. The ongoing partial government shutdown that's affecting the Department of Homeland Security is now reportedly causing significant financial stress, especially for TSA employees. We've seen long security screening lines at airports nationwide. Many TSA workers have called out sick. Others have quit. A union leader is now warning that things could get worse unless there is immediate action. News 4 transportation reporter Adam Tuss has the story tonight from Reagan National.
Yeah, you know, so much concern about TSA checkpoint lines all across the country right now. We can show you what it looks like at Reagan National Airport. Pretty good for the moment. Everything moving pretty smoothly right now. But it's what's happening behind the scenes here that's really starting to cause concern.
Well, TSA workers are about to miss their second paycheck of this ongoing partial government shutdown. And that's on top of what these workers went through during the longest government shutdown ever in the fall, where many missed multiple paychecks as well.
Adam, and that's the stress part is what's really not being reported, I think.
Joe Shucker is with the union that represents TSA employees in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, TSA sources are telling News 4 that it's gotten so bad that some workers are sleeping in their cars outside of airports, including Dulles International, because those workers can't pay rent or afford gas to drive around.
I know that's a fact, no doubt. It's a stressful enough job as it is. You're looking for bombs, you're looking for weapons, right? Now you have the added stress of, how am I going to feed my family tomorrow? How am I going to put gas in my car?
A senior TSA official confirms an internal report to NBC News that around 300 officers have now quit, and many, many more are calling out sick. That's part of the issue that's been causing long lines at some TSA checkpoints across the country.
At some point, officers are going to hit a breaking point. And like I said, it's going to be a perfect storm. We're heading into spring break, and the officers haven't got paid in 2 months.
When I asked him the solution, he said simply, they have to pay us. At Reagan National Airport, Adam Tuss, News 4.
We reached out to the TSA directly for comment. We have not yet heard back. Last week, DHS released a statement that accused Democrats of, quote, shamelessly playing politics with national security. Senate Democrats, again, as we reported today, rejected that DHS funding package. Earlier today, News 4 was at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. The community mobilized to provide food for TSA workers. Volunteers packed 600 boxes with food that will be given to TSA workers at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport.
This week, we're starting with some shelf-stable items. We are focused on lean proteins that are canned items, so canned tuna, canned chicken. We have some vegetables, rice, pasta, things that people can use to make some meals, and we're focused on making sure they're nutritious meals.
The food bank said it is prepared to help for as long as it takes. Well, this shutdown isn't just hard on TSA workers. It's also causing issues for people flying during peak spring break travel season. Sean Cudahy, senior aviation reporter for The Points Guy, joins us now to talk more about the impact on travelers. Sean, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
This is the second government shutdown in less than 6 months to affect airport operations. What sort of feedback are you hearing from passengers who we've been seeing this video of stuck in these long lines?
Yeah, to your point, the lines have gotten really bad in recent days, especially over the weekend. If you're flying on a Friday or a Sunday, which tend to be the busiest days of the week, I would definitely be getting to the airport early. You know, we saw in the fall, it was really air traffic control, flight delays and cancellations that were kind of the driver of the chaos, so to speak, at airports. Obviously, this is a smaller scale federal shutdown focused on DHS, and it's really these TSA workers that have been caught in the middle, and travelers obviously going through TSA checkpoints affected as well.
As we mentioned, the security lines have been hours long in some places. Passengers are even being asked to show up like 4 hours earlier just for a domestic flight. If Congress does not pass something soon, what do you see happening?
I certainly think we're going to see more of these long lines. It's kind of hit or miss which airport is most affected. You never really know going into a weekend or a busy travel day which airport's going to be affected the most. I would expect, though, we are going to see long lines at more airports with more frequency the longer this goes on. Obviously it was Houston last week, Atlanta, New Orleans that kind of saw the biggest disruptions. I think as long as this shutdown goes on, I think we'll see that at more airports this coming weekend.
And what about all those travelers out there standing in those long lines who are missing connecting flights or having flights canceled? Are there any protections for them?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that you hear airlines, airports, the TSA telling folks to get to the airport so early is because there's not the same level of protection as if, and the airline is responsible for a disruption or even a weather cancellation. That being said, if you do miss a flight because you're stuck in a long TSA line, I would certainly reach out to your airline, talk to the customer service agents. I imagine that they will be more willing to work with you than they might be if you just missed your flight because you were running late.
Well, I certainly hope so. I hope they get this worked out soon. There's a lot of people hoping to get to their destinations. Senior aviation reporter for The Points Guy, Sean Cudahy, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's check in now with Storm Team 4 meteorologist Amelia Draper. Boy, what a difference a couple of hours makes, Amelia.
Oh my gosh, absolutely incredible, Sean, to think that it was looking like a winter wonderland out there around 1, 2 o'clock, even earlier. And now, looking outside, it looks like we're talking about a nice spring evening, albeit we're at 44 degrees. Here's a look at your weather headlines for tonight. A lot of melting still going on with temperatures well above freezing, but it's a brisk night out there tomorrow, windy and chilly. And then for the weekend, it's going to be breezy on Saturday. As we look to Sunday, more clouds. Here's the latest right now on Storm Team 4 radar. You can see a few clouds streaming in from the north and west this afternoon, but those are already starting to dissipate as we lose the sunshine. So clear skies tonight. 44 degrees is the temperature right now. The wind's gusting up to 20 miles an hour, and it will be a little bit breezy overnight into the early morning hours, and then the winds really tick up around the mid to late morning hours tomorrow. Speaking of the morning, this is 7 a.m. Notice how we're starting out right around freezing. So yeah, there could be an isolated slick spot here or there, but for the most part, I'm really not worried about any ice. Certainly the roads are going to be absolutely fine. They're already dry from today. So looking at your temperatures, again, we start off around freezing. By lunchtime, we're at 46. We have a mix of clouds and sun throughout the day. The winds will be the strongest during the midday and afternoon hours, gusting up to 45 miles an hour. But back around the Blue Ridge and into far western Maryland, we have a wind advisory that's been issued by the National Weather Service for the day tomorrow. Gusts for the areas in brown up to 55 miles an hour. So looking at your Storm Team 4 4-day forecast, a high temperature tomorrow of 56 degrees. Again, it's all about the winds tomorrow. The winds come down a little bit on Saturday. It's breezy. We have a high temperature of 58, so not a bad day at all for March standards. More clouds on Sunday, maybe an isolated shower. A high temperature on Sunday near 60. Monday, look at the temperature. That looks great, right? 70, but rain is looking likely with another cold front. So some rain, some storms, especially later in the day. Those storms could be strong to severe, something we'll continue to monitor. And then it feels, Sean, more like January, Tuesday and Wednesday. We start off in the 20s. We have afternoon high temperatures in the 40s. Then Thursday, our temperatures rebound. So aside from that chill Tuesday and Wednesday, this 10-day forecast, it's not terrible. Next weekend, not bad either. Certainly no 86-degree days in the forecast.
Okay.
We were spoiled.
That was like a good teaser. I'm looking forward to the 80s again.
I am right there with you. I cannot wait for summer.
All right. Thanks, Amelia. Well, if you still haven't sorted your weekend plans, don't stress. We have you covered. News 4's Tommy McFly explains there is really something for everyone.
It's a witty look at the founding of our nation, the people, the ideals, the drama. 1776 takes the stage at historic Ford's Theater.
The signing of the Declaration of Independence is the reason for the season.
And Jake Lowenthal plays our third president.
It's a lot of responsibility because Jefferson is a character that people feel really strongly about.
We are cool. Ahead of America's 250th, Ford takes us back to the time it all started.
It was really important to our director that it doesn't feel like a museum piece, even though we're technically performing it inside of the museum. So he was really interested in how we meet the moment of 2026 and sort of merge it with 1776.
You can see 1776 at Ford's into May. Also, Awesome Con is happening this weekend. Fandoms unite from all over all of the galaxies. When you see it in person downtown, people dressed up, you're going to be like, that's what he was talking about. Also, 100,000 tulips are on the National Mall this weekend. The Embassy of the Netherlands is doing Tulip Day. Heads up, the free tickets to grab a tulip and bring it home have all been gobbled up, but it's supposed to be pretty cool to check out. Plenty of sniffing and wagging opportunities for your pet. You should not be sniffing anybody. They do have ways to adopt animals, brand new pet products, and a lot to do at Super Pet Expo at Manassas Mall. It's also a lot of ways to celebrate Nowruz this weekend, the Persian New Year. You can go to the Smithsonian Museum of Asian Art on Saturday. They've got a family festival. Sunday, there's an even bigger celebration at the Hilton Washington Dulles Hotel with more than 60 vendors. Plus, it's the home opener of our Washington Spirit. I know, Friday the 13th, but don't worry. Those ladies don't need superstition. They're going to have an awesome season. Go get it, ladies. I'm Tommy McFly. Have an awesome weekend.
Finally tonight, Charles County's only no-kill shelter will not have to close its doors because of donations made by all of you. Last week, News 4 told you how the shelter would have to close if it didn't receive more than $100,000 in donations. Well, the shelter staff told us that our story helped them meet their goal in less than a week. They are very thankful, but they also told News 4's Jessica Albert they need a little more to make sure they stay open for good.
What a difference a week makes.
You mean Saturday, Charles County? How can I help you?
Phones are ringing off of the hook at the Humane Society of Charles County, and donations are rolling in. News 4 interviewed the staff here last week when they were in desperate need of $125,000, or they'd be forced to close.
I was panicked because I'm an animal lover. I don't want to see nothing happen to these babies.
The shelter runs entirely on donations. It's been open 50 years and is the only no-kill shelter in Charles County.
This cutie right here is Mary DeFluff.
Last week, we posted about the problem on social media, and very quickly, animal lovers stepped up to donate.
It was just like wildfire. It was being shared everywhere. The donations were coming in, the businesses were calling, everybody wanted to help.
And in just 5 days, they surpassed the $125,000 donation goal.
So we are ecstatic. You know, we can stay open now.
April Hodges is the director at the shelter. She's so thankful for the outpouring of support from the community, but says the shelter is not quite out of the woods yet. Their facility needs some TLC.
It doesn't shut.
Including work on the dog kennels.
An animal can get out.
And a new outdoor fence.
We need monthly donations to be able to sustain. So we're asking the public to please consider being a monthly donor. Every little bit counts.
But above all, the staff and the pets here want the community to know how thankful they are that the shelter has been saved.
I just want to say thanks again for them, because without them, we wouldn't be able to help every fur baby here.
And if you would like to start making monthly donations to the Humane Society of Charles County, you can find a link to do so on our website, NBCWashington.com. In Waldorf, with my friend Lemon here, Jessica Albert, News 4.
All right, Lemon and Jessica and all those animals. We're glad you guys are going to be just fine. Well, that'll do it for the News 4 Rundown on this Thursday night. Make sure you stick around and join us back here tonight for News 4 at 11. Until then, have a great night, stay dry, and we'll see you back here tonight.